you let one ant stand up to us, then they all might stand up. Those puny little ants outnumber us 100 to 1. And if they ever figure that out, there goes our way of life. It's not about food. It's about keeping those ants in line. That's why we're going back. Does anybody else want to stay? Let's ride!
Dingle do. 7 o'clock. 7 o'clock. On the 8th of January. And we're going to be doing a Thursday night excursion together. I've got a guest we've never had on before. I love bringing on new guests, especially when I meet them through friends. And tonight, our guest is Brian. You might know him as the Demon Eraser. And I met Brian through the boys of Nephilim Death Squad. We'll talk about him in a second. It's been waiting to get him on, and here he is in the new year. So I hope your week has been going great. I can't believe it's already we're toward the end of the week. Now I'm going to be doing a morning stream tomorrow on the B-sides. Tony Arterburn is going to join me. Well, I want to ask him some big questions, updates on gold and silver and everything else. But not only that, tomorrow night, I don't know what I'm going to do, but I'm going to premiere something. I think I'm going to go into the archives and just pull out a classic episode or something like that, because I don't have anything to premiere tomorrow night. Saturday night, I'm going to go live from Studio B. I think that Akira the Don is going to come on with me. We're just going to have a little, fun with some music and talk about what it means to be in a flow state, especially in the new year. And then next week we're really off to the races again, because on next Friday we have a new taping of the Playhouse, and then I have my cousins Sherry and Dave coming in on the 17th. And then we have the Playhouse again that last week, I think the 30th, and then the 31st. We're getting back to usual. But tonight is special because it's Thursday, and it's the first Thursday that we've been on in a while, because we've had 2 straight weeks of holidays. It was the end of the year, and then it was Christmas. So I haven't seen my friends from Badlands in a while, and it's a Badlands night, baby. So we got Badlands that's on with us, joining us with all the other sites, and they get to get in on the last night. I have all the names. We have about 96 names already. Some of them are duplicates, of course, and triplicate and whatever, because we're treating this like real raffle now. I know I told you that I was going to add a 4th dime to my cluster of Mercury Head dimes that I'm giving you guys, along with the Shart Survival Kit. I know I said I was going to give you 4, but I lied. I'm going to give you 5 instead. So I'm adding, there you go. 5 Mercury Head dimes. You go do the melt value math on that one. They're not 10 cents, I'll tell you that much. So you get the 5 Mercury Head dimes, silver, 90% silver, and the Shart Survival Kit. Next time you hear something so incredible, you shite your pants. Anyhow, hello to everybody. It's good to be on. What else are we going to talk about tonight? Well, we're going to have Brian on in the first half. I just want to talk about the stuff he does. It's pretty interesting. He's an exorcist. He's an exorcist. He fights demons. He's a demonologist. I like talking about demonology just because I want a profile. I like learning about the profiles of the demons. What they like doing. Where do they hang out the most? They all got personalities. They've got dossiers on them after all these thousands of years of doing battle with them. I'm not doing battle with them. I'm not touching them. I hope I'm not. But after that, I have something that maybe we start it tonight, but it doesn't end tonight, because I put out a thread today that I hope that we get a bunch of people in on, and I'm giving you a little bit of time right now. How many? We only have a couple of responses on here and a couple of other tweets and other things that came in, because the responses always go all over the place. But I have a thread about weird addictions and bad habits. And the reason why I put together this thread that I want people to call in on this stuff is because of this particular this article from the New York Post. This woman snorts all of her food. She snorts omelets. She snorts steak. She says it feels phenomenal, even though she knows that she's at risk for infections and all the other stuff. And I said, okay, all right. There's got to be some weird stuff in the chat. You can call in under an assumed name. You let me know you have a weird addiction or a weird something that you like doing that you know does not add anything of value, is not health promoting in any way. You found you fell into doing it for some weird reason, and you just never stopped. I know that there's somebody out there. The whole point here is, are you going to be able to put your pride at the door, make up a fake name, call in and say, yes, I also snort things. Doesn't have to be anything illicit. It could be mashed potatoes. Like, if you were like this woman, I want to hear from you tonight in the second half. And if nobody calls in, then shame on you. I tried to think if I had anything like that. I don't think so. I just eat normal things at the worst times of day sometimes. Give me some time. You know what? I'll give you some time as well. But hopefully we get some calls on that in the second half with a whole bunch of other things that we can do to fill up our time. As far as the flip side goes tonight, I think we either might get on the drums, or we might do some request line call-in music. I'll leave that up to everybody on the other side of the end credits on the flip side tonight, so you guys can vote about that and talk about that. I should have put it in a chat room topic. That would have been nice. But yeah, it's we'll talk about a range of things tonight. We'll also be talking about whether or not birds are real. I stumbled upon this shirt today. I said, I haven't worn that since the first time I wore it. Let's wear it again tonight. Maybe it'll start some conversation. So, do you snort any of the food that you eat during the week? I want to know about that. There's also other crazy shit that's going on in the news. Did you hear about the scientist who grafted a human ear onto a foot? Disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. Looks like it's AI right there. The surgeons stepped up in a bizarre first. The South China, of course. The South China Morning Post reports doctors in China have surgically grafted a patient's severed ear to her foot. The patient, a woman identified by her surname Sun, suffered a horrific workplace accident involving heavy machinery which tore off a large part of her scalp and her ear with it. Oh, man. That sounds horrible. I'm like, for some reason, I'm thinking of like Howie Mandel from Little Monsters or something like that. But he had ears, but one was hanging off. I don't know. The patient, a woman identified. Okay, so that's it. The damage to her scalp and vascular network was so severe that restoring the ear at the time was impossible. So the procedure was performed to save the patient's oral orifice, so it could be reattached to her head later on. The scalp, neck, and face had been torn and split into multiple fragments, while the ear had been completely severed along with the scalp. The team tried to immediately repair it, but they came up against a grim medical reality. The skull needed more time, months at least, to heal. You can't simply just put a body part on ice for that long, so the surgical team opted for a radical approach, save the ear by attaching it to somewhere else on the body. You know what? It's a little weird, but it's not like I thought that this was where this was going, because of course all we saw. I thought we were going to get like one of Fauci's rats. You remember Fauci's rats in Pennsylvania somewhere near Pittsburgh or wherever the hell it was? They were putting ears onto the backs of rats' asses. So I thought it was going to be one of those things where they're just like growing body parts for somebody. But, you know, I guess if you're just doing it to preserve a body part that was already there so you can reattach it, that's not as bad. It's weird. I'd want it off of me. Where would you put it? Would you keep it on your foot? They say, listen, we have to put this somewhere. Where would you want it? I wonder if this person, Sun, had discretion as to where they were going to put it on the body. Because that's something, man. That really is. I'm going to, but you know what? I'm actually going to throw this to Brian from Demon Erasers. I'm going to ask him this question just to start it all off, because this is the way I like starting off conversations, with a non sequitur. Hey, Brian, you there?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Hey,
I'm here.
It's great to have you, brother. It's great to meet you.
Yeah, thanks for having me out, bro. Sorry for delays or technical issues, but we're good to go now.
No, actually, you're right on time. It's 7:10 p.m. Eastern time.
Okay, sweet.
You're doing beautiful. Hey, let me ask you this. I was just reading a strange story out of China of a woman who had her head ripped to shreds by a piece of machinery wherever she worked, and in order to save her ear and reconstruct her somewhere down the line after her skull healed adequately, they actually took her ear, which was torn off cleanly, and they attached it to her foot to stay there and be attached to living tissue until it was time to reattach. I wonder if if something, God forbid, like that happened to you, and they said, Brian, okay, well, we can save the ear. We have to attach it to your body somewhere for a couple of months. Where would you put it? Would you put it? I wouldn't put it on the foot.
I mean, I don't know, man. Like the foot's, I feel like it might like pick up some smell or something. Who knows what kind of weird.
What about the hip?
Skin thing.
Like a hip?
Yeah, that would be better. But then you wouldn't be able to wear pants for a while, you know?
Yeah, it would have to be sweatpants or something bad. It's something MC Hammerish. Something that's not
yeah, for sure.
Something blousy.
I think that's the reason why they chose the foot. It's got to be an area where it's just like open, so that way it doesn't, get rubbed or I don't know what.
No, I'm with you. I'm with you, man. Well, listen, back in October is when I found you through our mutual friends, the Nephilim Death Squad. And I'm just reading your bio here again. You cast out demons. You heal the sick in the name of Jesus, and you work tirelessly to expose evil. I've watched so many of your occult, hidden, ancient history deep dives. Those are really fun. But people know you as the Demon Eraser. So welcome to the show, and I can't wait to just talk about the contents of your bio alone. How about you start with just a nutshell version of your adult journey that led you to your first exorcism?
Yeah, I mean, I've got a lot. Like my testimony's out there so many times, but like I'll share a short testimony because I don't want to bore too many people. I want to keep it interesting. But I was polyamorous and grew up with a lifestyle that was pretty, I guess, standard, normal. But then I saw demons when I was a child, and then I saw something kind of freaked me out, made me start studying the Bible. And so I studied Nephilim, and I studied history, and I studied the Bible my whole life. But I treated it like it was fairy tales. And then I became polyamorous because I was like, this is, boring to some degree. So I had a lot of biblical knowledge, but again, I thought of it like fairy tales. And then the Lord slapped me real hard one day when my ex-girlfriend or whatever, she ended up getting influenced or like demonically possessed, I guess you could say. That's all really what it is.
Jeez.
And started having behaviors that were just not normal, not what people think are. And like she thought she was bipolar. She thought she had depression. She thought she had all these issues like that, and that was not the case. I just sort of prayed one day and was like, Lord, help. And she had been reading some of the occult stuff because I studied it, like occult and like the Nephilim and history and witchcraft and stuff. I studied this stuff. I never participated in it, but I studied it just because out of curiosity, and I thought it was interesting. So I had like books on this kind of stuff that was kind of evil. You probably shouldn't be keeping around if you're a Christian. But it never affected me really that I noticed. But it did. But eventually it did lead me into like polyamory, which was probably pretty terrible. I've never done a drug. I've never drank a drop of alcohol. I've never smoked a cigarette, but I definitely went into the direction of perversion quite a bit.
Well,
But
see, I was going to ask you about that in particular because you see it, you can see it getting pushed in the media a lot these days. Polyamory, it pops up all over the place. Witchcraft is getting pushed all over the place. If you aren't a person who smokes or drinks or something like that, can leading a lifestyle where you're so open sexually, is that just as a big enough doorway for demonic possession than anything else, even if there's no spiritual element to the way you're living?
Absolutely. I mean, 100%. I mean, like I was essentially demonized as well because I was participating in what is called sex magic and I didn't really know it. And it was like, I was, in my head, I was kind of thinking like, oh, it's not that bad. I mean, David had multiple wives. What if I have like participate in like, ritual sex magic situations with these women and stuff? It was like, in my head, I was trying to justify it in some capacity, but it was still, my girlfriends, they knew that like what they were doing was wrong. And so like it affected them worse than it affected me because I was kind of almost naive and I was like deceived in a sense. And so, but I was still participating in stuff and it was still, I was inhabiting the spirit of Pan, like, or the, like Satan, dude, like was working through me to infect and sort of to pervert the minds of these women and like destroy society and like, and I was being totally used as a tool. I mean, I was getting what I wanted out of it. So I wasn't like aware that I was being demonized or that I was being used because I was having fun doing it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so, but yeah, absolutely. You can totally get demon stuff through there. I mean, it affected the girls I was with for sure. They were affected mentally, emotionally, spiritually. It like messed them up actually pretty bad.
Did they have the same turnaround that you did eventually, or are they still out there and dealing with it?
Yeah, they did. So yeah, they all kind of sort of turned around to some of the Lord, to some degree, yeah. So they definitely. My ex is she was in one of my testimony videos on my channel. And she talks about it a lot and like speaks to people and prays for people and casts out demons. Like, bro, she's like totally on fire for the Lord doing the same kind of stuff. And so she's awesome and she does all kinds of cool stuff. So yeah, they all kind of woke up to the realization. I mean, she thought she was bipolar and she had all this stuff. And then anyways, I prayed one day and I was like, Lord, maybe this is like demonic. Cause like, I don't even know. Like, this is like so weird. So I just prayed. I was like, Lord, help. And the next day, I heard like almost like a voice spoken to me, and it was like, "Take down your art." And I was like, "What the heck was that?" I was like, "That was a weird thing to just be spoken to me." And then I heard it again, and then I heard, "Read my 10 commandments." And I'm like, "The heck?" And I'm like working at my desk, and I look up, and I'm like, look up at my art, and I have my ex-girlfriends and stuff that I've painted because I was an artist, and I had all these paintings of them like all over my walls. And there was like naked paintings of girls everywhere in my building. And so like I had this stuff that was like all these paintings. And so like I look at it and I realize I read the 10 commandments. And the second commandment says, make no image in the form of anything in heaven above and earth beneath and waters below. And do not bow down and worship those images. And I realize in that moment as I'm looking at these paintings, I worship women. I give them worth. It's worthship. And suddenly it like hits me like a light bulb. Like, how is this any different than what the pagans did back in the day? Because we have this misconception like the pagans all had statues that they would bow down to, be like, oh, our great statue. Like, that's not what it is. And so when I'm looking at this paintings of my ex-girlfriends and my girlfriends all over the walls, I'm like realizing I'm in violation of God's commandment. He says, have no other gods before him and do not worship these images. And I'm straight up worshiping worthship. These paintings aren't worth anything to anybody else, but to me, it's worth something. So it's worthship. And I'm like looking at it and I realize, oh my gosh. So I just take it down because I'm like, maybe this is the Lord talking to me. I don't know. So I just took it all down. And then like as I'm taking it down, I look over at my shelf of amiibos because I played video games and Smash Brothers and I was really good at it. And I had almost every single amiibo that there was for Smash Brothers. And I had a whole shelf on the highest shelf in my building, the highest shelf in my room. And I'm like looking over at this and I'm like, oh my gosh, that's the definition of idols. They're little statues on the highest shelf in my place. And I straight up hear them too. And I'm like, the heck was that? And so I'm like, okay. So I just scoop them all off into a box. And I'm like, okay, this is kind of freaking me out. And I'm like, Lord, if you're talking to me, I was like, I need, like, what am I supposed to do with this? Like, throw it away? I'm like, burn it? Like, I'm like, what am I supposed to do with all this stuff? Like, this is money and it's like time. I'm like, I'm just going to put it in my garage. And all of a sudden I hear a Bible verse. Boom. It's like Deuteronomy 32 something. And I'm like, what the heck was that? And I hear it a second time. Boom. It was like the same verse. And I'm like, okay. So I open my phone to the Bible app and I go to that verse. And dude, it literally says, none of the condemned things are to be found in your hands. I just said, Lord, what do you want me to do with these things? And all of a sudden I hear this Bible verse and I'm kind of like freaked out. So I'm like, what the heck was that? This is crazy. So I'm like, okay. And I look over and I have a flamethrower and my stuff's like sitting next to my flamethrower. I'm like, Lord, do you want me to burn this? And I'm like, this is crazy.
Hopefully,
right?
hopefully he did it outside in the parking lot.
I did. But I'm like, do you want me to burn this? I'm like, okay. And then all of a sudden I hear another verse, like Leviticus 5:12 or something. And I'm just like, what the heck was that? And then I hear it a second time. And I'm like, okay, so I look it up. And it literally says, he handed the burnt offering. And I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? I'm like, what? What are the chances of this? So I'm officially freaked out, right? So I'm like, okay, Lord. If you, and I'm like, this is kind of freaking me out. So I call my ex-girlfriend. I'm like, hey, I know this is really weird. I feel like the Lord's telling me to burn my art and my video game stuff. And she's like, what? That's like your identity. And I'm like, I know. I don't know why. I'm just getting random Bible verses spoken to me out of thin air, and I'm hearing a voice, and it's like communicating to me right now. And she's like, okay, that's really weird, but whatever. And as I'm on the phone with her, she's like, why does God say to get rid of your video game stuff though? And I was like, the last time I heard anything like the Lord speak to me like this was when I was a kid. I heard God say, get rid of your video game stuff. And I said, no, Lord, I'd rather have video games than you, when I was a kid. And that was the last time I've ever heard anything like this, because I was super into video games. I'm like, boring, stupid. I'd rather have video games. That was the last thing I heard anything remotely close to this spoken. It was almost like a word spoken in my head, but it wasn't audible, but it felt so clear it was almost audible.
You have a connection that most people, I think a lot of people would be very jealous of, like to be able to just have things pop up. People have to learn to quiet themselves to degrees that are insane in order just to be able to feel the current of the divine, where to go next. But the fact that you have Bible verses popping up in your heads and of course, I know
what they were.
Either way, you put the pieces together pretty quick. When did you then? I have to imagine that the next call soon within short order was talking to your girlfriends and saying, I think we have to stop this. When was that?
Oh, immediately. And so like I hear that verse, bro. I'm on the phone and I tell her that, and immediately I hear Jeremiah 5:7. This is the most terrifying thing I've ever happened to me. Okay. I hear Jeremiah 5:7. I just got done saying, no, God, I'd rather have video games than you, when I was a kid. And I explained this to her. And I'm like, it just did it again. She's like, what? I'm like, the Bible verse just spoke in my head. She's like, what's it say? I'm like, Jeremiah 5:7. I don't know what that says. And she's like, well, look it up. I look it up, bro. Oh my gosh, dude. The most terrifying verse. It literally says, why should I forgive you? Your children have sworn by gods that were not gods. I literally just got done saying, when I was a child, I said, no, God, I'd rather have video games than you. Bro, when I read that, like my heart just like sank into my stomach. And I'm like, okay, the creator universe is asking me, why should he forgive me? Like, I have no good reason why he should forgive me. Like, I'm just like, dude, I'm totally terrified at this point. And I'm just like, okay, like while I'm on the phone, this happens. And so I'm just like, all right, Lord, God is real. He's speaking to me right now. And I'm like, okay, if this is really you, Lord, I need you to confirm you want me to burn my video game stuff and my art. Give me a very clear verse right now. And I hear Genesis, whatever, random verse. I look it up, bro. And it literally says, then he handed the burnt offering again. And I'm like, okay, I guess I'm burning my stuff. But I'm like, Lord, this is plastic. And like, dude, this is going to be like bad. And I was like, what am I supposed to do? Burn it one by one? And I bump over to the next verse on my phone when I go down to reread it. And it says he handed the offering piece by piece. And I'm like, okay, one by one it is.
That's it.
One by one it is.
Well,
so I'm just like, I'm like, all right. So I literally just take all my stuff, throw it in a trash bag, and I'm like, okay. And I just start driving, and I hear left, and I'm about to go to like my family's backyard area, and I'm like, okay. And I go left. I was supposed to turn right, and I'm like, I don't know where I'm going, God. You direct me. Directs me to this place. I turn into a housing complex in the middle of a desert, nowhere that's like being built. There's like a sump, and I just feel like there is where it's at. And I park and I get out and I go into the sump and I open this gate that was already open. I just like push it over. And there is a perfect little spot to burn stuff, just like chilling there, like some homeless guy could have set it up. And I'm like, are you kidding me right now? This is like insane. So I just start burning my video game collection and my like art. And I'm just like, okay, God, burning it all. I'm burning this. I don't know what I'm doing. This is like my art. This is whatever. I don't want it. And like, dude, I hear like in a specific instruction, the Lord's like, now put it out. And I'm like, what? Like after I burn a bunch of it, it's just burning pile and I'm just watching it burn in the middle of nowhere. I hear put it out. And so I'm like, okay. And there's some wet drywall. So I grab the drywall and I stomp it out with the wet drywall in this area. And then I hear, now take the remainder, put it in the trash bag you brought it in and throw it away. It was almost like a sentence spoken to me. It was crazy. And I'm like, okay, whoa. All right. So I take it, I put it in the trash bag. I walk out the gate. A police light car pulls up behind me as I'm walking out the gate with a smoldering plastic in a trash bag. And I'm just like, oh, great. Thinking, no, officer, God told me to start this fire. It's probably not a good answer.
Officer, it's a burnt offering for the Lord.
Yeah, exactly, right? So I'm like, I just open my car door and I just stick it in and shut the door. And I'm like, and I just act like nothing happened. And the guy comes over with the flashlight. He's like, you here for someone? And I'm like, I don't know. He's like, you live around here? I'm like, no. He's like, you waiting for somebody? I'm like, kind of, I don't know. And then he's like, okay. And he walks over, he looks in the gate. As soon as he looks in the gate, it starts raining like instantly. And I'm in California. It don't rain here very often at all. It just like, boom, downpours rain so fast and so much that the smoke looks like mist from the water of the, it doesn't even look like smoke. And the minute he turns into the thing with his flashlight, this boom, and I'm like, I'm standing in shock watching this just happen in front of me because I'm thinking he's going to see the fire pit, but it's like boom, so fast and violent. It just looks like mist. And he's like, okay. And he turns around. He's like, oh, and I'm like, I realize it's not a cop. It's a security guard for a company that I did work for that day. Because as a designer, I do design work and stickers and stuff. I did stuff for his car, for his company. And I'm like, I know your boss so-and-so. I'm like, here's this. And he's like, oh, yeah. And he's like, you know so-and-so? I'm like, yeah. And he goes, oh, okay, carry on. And he just leaves. And I'm like, there's no freaking way.
Okay, so it's all coming together. You've been given your instructions. Now take us from because I have a big question about instruction in the head.
Sure, yeah, we can talk about that.
I want to talk about that for sure, but bring us now to where, I mean, this is a day of a great awakening for you. You're shedding a lot of skin. How do you start coming into your own where you feel you're ready to invoke the authority of God to actually drive demons out? Skip forward.
I go home. I'm like, girlfriend, we're done. No sleeping together. We're done. Like, call the girl I was talking to, like, we're done. Everything's done. I'm like, I can't wait. I have to be righteous. I have to be holy. The next day, random dude shows up at my door, at my business, comes into my door. I'm like, hey, what's up? He's like, I'm here to meet you. I'm like, to meet me? I'm like, it's weird. Okay. I keep working. And I finished with the thing. I'm like, do you have a business? No. Do you need stickers? No. Do you need design work? No. And I'm like, okay. I finished with the client and I turn around. I'm like, listen, old man. I pull him aside. I'm like, I'm about to kick you out of my building. Like, you're kind of freaking me out, you weird old guy. Like, you say you don't need stickers. You don't need design. You don't need marketing. Why are you here? What do you do? And he goes, I do miracles. And he goes, and I teach people how to cast out demons and how to heal people. And he goes, and I'm pretty sure God told me to come here today. I'm like, are you freaking kidding me? Dude ends up praying for my girlfriend. And she ends up getting instantly healed from like all kinds of sickness and depression and society and like all this bipolar, crazy, whatever stuff she was dealing with, like leaves. And like, there was like a whole bunch of process stuff, but she never slept. I've seen her all the way through the night. She slept the whole night through. I was just like, are you kidding me? Like, this was so real. I've never seen anything like that.
And what did he teach you?
Well, he actually, I was like, bro, you need to teach me. And he's like, no, your heart's not right. He's like, I won't teach you. I was like, what? I'm like, what do you mean? Like, bro, God, I burned all my stuff. Like, the Lord told you to come here. What are you talking about? You have to teach me. And he's like, I'm not going to teach you. He's like, your heart is wrong. He's like, he's like, the Lord brought me here to do what I needed to do to heal her. Your heart's wrong. And I was like, oh my gosh, because I still had it in my head that, well, maybe I just need to marry these girls and I could just have 2 wives like David. Like that was kind of like the thinking in my head still, because I was polyamorous still in my thinking. And I was like, okay, well, I'll just marry him. I don't need to sleep with them. I'll just marry him. Right. And so, but he was like, no, he's like, no. And so he's like, the Lord will deal with you. I was like, okay, whatever.
So he was working under complete knowledge of what just happened to you over the last 72 hours. He just knew everything.
The dude just knew.
And you've never seen him before? Did you see him ever again?
Don't even know the guy.
Did you see him?
I know him. Yeah, I still see him every once in a while. I talk to him, but he's just a dude that listens to God. He's like an old hermit that goes where the Lord tells him to go, and he just does stuff and prays for people. He's kind of crazy.
Well, let me ask you, before we get to the actual exorcism, a few months ago, we got to speak to for the first time. We've done a follow-up since, a conversation with Jerry Marzinski. And yeah, I know you know him. Obviously did a lot of work with the criminally insane, talks about schizophrenia, and he claims that there is not one negative thought, especially in your head, that belongs to us. That I find that particular claim a little hard to believe, that everything I have kicking around in my head is is received and none of it is generated internally. I definitely believe there's a mix in there. I don't deny that we are receivers, but I also asked him, because I have to imagine you would agree with him on all of that, if not most. But as far as receiving voices from the outside that are of good angelic origin, how do you, I mean, this is obviously an example of that, and I never got that out of him. I mean, he told stories about, inmates that were given step-by-step instructions on where to go buy drugs, where to hide weapons, where, stop right here. Like they're giving it's real-time instructions to evade police coming from some sort of ethereal realm. So you seem to be describing the same kind of connection, but it seems a little bit more helpful.
It's a lot more helpful. But here's the thing. Like, are you Christian, right?
Yes.
Okay, so like when you understand the biblical narrative of talking about, like, it says in the Bible, every good and perfect gift comes from him. That's what it says. Every good and perfect gift. Okay. So you got to think, like, let's say some random person that's like not a Christian feels spontaneously the need to give you $1,000, and they just, for no reason whatsoever. Do you think that came from them, or do you think that comes from the Lord? What do you think prompted that idea for them to be loving to you? What do you think prompted them to operate in that space where they wanted to help you? See what I'm saying?
That's where I would go to, is I would have to. I mean, it's too, it goes beyond anything that I could compute mathematically. So, as far as the chances of that being a thing, so I would actually lean into something more divine intervention. That's what I would look at it.
Yep. Every good and perfect gift comes from the Father, it says in the Bible. Every good and perfect gift. So you got to think, like, when we think about our thoughts being good and bad, like, really a lot of times all we are choice makers. Like, maybe you have some original thoughts. Maybe. I honestly, I don't know at this point. Like, I mean, I view it like the angel, the devil on your shoulder thing is kind of a good, accurate perception. When you deal with demons, you understand how they work. You start to see the world this way. And it's because you recognize that every time somebody does something evil, you're like, that wasn't them. And the reason why you do the evil thing that you do is because you're giving in to the louche, which is this feeding of the evil. It's almost like when you write a comment that's like really nasty or mean, and you write that comment and you press send, and it's like, oh yeah, it's gonna get them real good. That feeling that you're feeling, that is the demonic inference. That is the exchange. So like you start to realize, like, that sort of, like, it's the same thing when you sing a song. Like, let's say you sing Taylor Swift's song and she's like, I hate my boyfriend, he's gonna die, I want to kill him, whatever she says. I don't know. You sing this song and
sounds like her.
That, yeah, it sounds like it, right? So or something, let's say like Linkin Park, crawling in my skin, because I feel like you might have listened to that when you were a kid. And so you feel that feel when you sing that song, bro, you're chanting a spell. And that feeling you get when you sing that crawling in your skin line, you feel that, bro? That's the demon's evocation. And so what you're feeling, and when you're singing it, it feels real good. It's almost like a drug. You're angry, you put on, hard rock music or something. When you get real angry, you put it on, you listen to it, and you're like, and you like channel out. That's channeling.
That's
bro,
me.
That's a demonic agreement.
Well, gee, you're telling me whenever I put on the Pantera Far Beyond Driven album, I'm having nothing but a demonic time from the first track to the last track. There is nothing else except a communion with the demonic.
There is absolutely a connection with something demonic if you're listening to that. Absolutely.
How?
I'm not going to say there's nothing else, but I'm going to say there's absolutely a connection. Bro, that feeling, like you're supposed to be molded into the image of Christ. That's what we're supposed to walk in, right? We're supposed to walk in love and forgiveness and unity and peace. Okay? When you're singing that song, do you think that it's not affecting you in some way? Bro, it's totally affecting you. It's the reason why your behavior is really crass. Like, and you have this sort of negative behavior. This comes about from things that we listen to or the things that we subject ourselves to. Like, your behaviors will be molded into the image of something not of Christ, not of peace, not of unity, not of love. It'll mold you into this image where you're like influenced by this sort of negative perception. And like, think about this right now. Everybody that smokes cigarettes, I'm gonna tell you right now, every guy that smokes cigarettes like tends to be an angry person. Every guy that smokes cigarettes has an anger side to them. Like almost every person. I can't even, maybe it's different for women, but women tend to have a little bit of a sort of this attitude-y thing as well when you smoke cigarettes. It's true. Whether think about it.
With or without cigarettes, they get a little attitude-y.
Okay, yeah, well, whatever. But you know what I'm saying? Like, men that smoke cigarettes have an innate sort of aggressive behavior to them.
Maybe. I mean, I don't know. I don't know, Brian. I've been around friends that don't smoke, that don't smoke regularly, but whenever they do, it's usually in very chill environments. Actually, I don't know. I feel like everybody has that kind of duality, though.
When you're smoking the cigarette, you're burning the offering to the demon and you're giving it what it wants. Okay. So of course you're going to be chill when you smoke the cigarette. Duh. You're making its offering. Okay. Give him the other offering, fool. Give the demon what he wants and he'll let you alone. You don't give the demon what he wants. He's going to be a little bit anxiety, frustration, fear, irritants. That's how, like, people that smoke cigarettes all have this. They all have that. And it's like, it doesn't, it manifests in similar ways in most people. I don't think there's very many people that are just chill dudes that smoke cigarettes. In fact, if you're just a chill, cool dude all the time and you don't have that aggression in you, you probably don't smoke cigarettes.
So what is
or you're somebody that can just quit like this and you won't even care.
Yeah, I know a few people like that. It's crazy. But so what would you say is the hardest that music can get? It's like Neil Diamond or Oasis. What would be like the threshold where you're like, no, we have left the Lord and we are now in hell?
You can feel it, dude. Like, you can feel it in all the music. There's no threshold, dude. You know what it is. Like, it's in your heart. Like, it's in your perspective. Like, when you listen to the music, if you feel in your heart like this does not stir up peace in me, then it's probably satanic. It's probably bad. It's probably stirring up something demonic. I know this is like a controversial take to talk about this, but whatever. Like, a lot of Christians are like, no, that's not true. But like, you know what, dude? Like, I cast demons out, bro. People think you can do stuff and not be affected by it. You're lying to yourself. Like, you will be affected by certain things. What? And so, like, if you imagine trying to listen to like Linkin Park, crawling in your skin, and then walking into an exorcist and trying like to cast a demon out. Good luck.
Oh yeah, well, if I was preparing myself to walk into a situation like that, which I guess we should just get into we should just get right to it, because there's so many questions I have about the spiritual makeup of just for us in society at large, not even just individual cases, but so you're going through this major transformation. It's happening very quickly. And when do you know that you are going to begin to you're beginning preparations for what is going to be regular confrontations with demonic entities? Like, when do you know that you are going to be going into possession case scenarios?
Yeah, so People have demons influencing them all the time, whether they realize it or not. Okay. Demons are influencing people every day. You have negative thoughts pop into your head. You have evil thoughts pop into your head. You have thoughts that are just like wicked and corrupt. I mean, like the Bible says, we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against spiritual principalities and high places and stuff. Like, what do you think that's talking about? It's talking about the thoughts and the stuff that come into our head that push us towards the direction we know is the wrong way to go. We know it's not operating in love. Like God is love. Jesus has taught us to love one another. So anything you're doing outside of like love for your brother usually is something influenced by something demonic. Okay. So when you have that understanding, you're like, for me specifically, I just started like trying to be as righteous as possible. I knew in my heart, I can't be sleeping with my girlfriends. Okay. So like I knew that was wrong. I knew that polyamory to some degree I thought was somewhat like I try to like justify it and be like, well, maybe I could be a polygamist, like whatever, but it was still wrong. And I knew if I just sat silently enough and long enough and listened to my actual heart, I would know that that was wrong. And you would know that that was wrong. Everyone knows that these things are wrong. You don't need the Bible to tell you what's right and wrong. That's so stupid. Like Christians are so, read the Bible to know what's right and wrong. No, fool. It says in the Bible, Jeremiah 31:31. You know what it says? It says, this is the new covenant I will make with the people. It will not be like the covenant I made with their forefathers when I brought them out of Egypt. It says, I will write my commandments upon their heart. I will put it in their minds. They will be my God and I will be their people. That's what the Bible says. So where's the commandments that you're supposed to follow, bro? It ain't some biblical narrative. And people that try to use the Bible to justify their things, dude, you're missing it, bro. The truth is already inside of your heart. God already wrote it on your heart. He already put the law in your mind. That's the new law. What is the law you're supposed to follow? As a Christian, what is it? Oh, don't sleep with your girlfriend. Don't do this, blah, blah, blah. Like, whatever. Like, none of that matters. What matters is the law that's been given to you, and it's on your heart already. It's already been written on your heart.
Doesn't that leave it too much open for interpretation for individuals? Like, shouldn't there be something objectively like that was the whole point of the Ten Commandments? It's very objectively like here they are.
I don't think that they had the conviction of the Holy Spirit in them. You call it your conscience. I don't think the people back in the day didn't have a conscience. Now, think about this, bro. Your parents didn't need to tell you not to steal, but I guarantee you remember the first time you stole something.
Oh yes,
I guarantee you do. Yep. Now here's the deal. Another thing I know you probably remember, the first time you saw porn. I bet you remember that day.
Maybe
it
was it was right the Playboy channel was channel 37 and then pay-per-view was channel 38. And
you remember the channel, bro.
There was only 50 back then. So
this is what I'm saying, bro. You remember, like, the thing is, why do you remember that? Why do you think these things are relevant? Like, the fact is, some people remember the first time they lied to their parents even. Some people remember the first time, most people remember the first time they watched porn. Most people remember the first time they did something that was super wrong. The first time they hit someone, they'll remember that one for sure. And like, bro, there are certain things but nobody needed to tell you that stealing was wrong. Your parents didn't need to tell you stealing was wrong. You just knew it. How'd you know it, bro? How did you know it? Because the Holy Spirit was already in you. The Holy Spirit's already in you, and he's already guiding you. You're the one rejecting it or neglecting it and justifying it and go, oh, well, I guess we can bomb all those children over there because they're not God's chosen people, right? Okay, I guess we can do that because it's not technically accordance to the Bible. No, idiot, you're not listening to your spirit. That's literally what people are doing all the time. They're rejecting their spirit. So it isn't. It's not as subjective as you think. The reality is, like, if people listen to their heart, it's the same message throughout everywhere. If you can, now there's things that can pervert children. This is why God says, how terrible is it if you hurt one of my little ones? Because when you hurt the little ones, it perverts their perspective of what is right and wrong. And that's why children that get abused can't tell in the spirit what is good or bad. And this is why it's so bad to mess with the children. Because it perverts their perspective of what is right and wrong.
Well, yeah. You can say that the Bible. That is our natural state. When you think about even from a libertarian standpoint or a anarcho-capitalist standpoint, what holds that stateless society together? And that's when you start diving into non-aggression's principle and where do your rights and property begin and somebody else's end and all that other stuff. And there's a lot of it really just comes down to base programming, and you can pick up on it, no doubt about it. It's like an internal Geiger counter for sure, and it could be groomed or burnt out of you completely. Now to get right to it, because I really want to manage the time we have left together. Well, when did you know you were gearing up for your first exorcism?
Yeah, so I just told people my testimony, honestly, and everybody was like, dude, this is crazy. Like I told you, they're like, whoa. And one guy one day was like, bro, I have the same thing she has. I can't sleep at night. I have depression. I have anxiety. I have all this. He's like, can you pray for me? And I'm like, I'm not the dude that prayed for her and healed her, like, just so you know. And he was like, yeah, but I believe you can. And I was like, I'm like, I mean, I guess I could try. I mean, I know what he did. And so I was like, sure. So I just was like trying to walk righteous. I was trying to listen to my heart. I was trying to be pure and righteous as I could be. Right. And then I just literally go, okay. And I like, Lord, I bind anything demonic in this man right now in the name of Jesus. This is a friend of a friend. I didn't know this guy. I'm like, I bind anything demonic in this man in the name of Jesus. And he's like sitting on the chair and he's just like not moving. And I'm like, okay. And I'm like, I didn't know what else to say, right? So I was like, are you doing okay, man? How you doing? He's not moving. He's like not moving at all. And I'm like, are you all right? And he's like, I can't move. And he's like, says it barely out the side of his mouth. He's like, and he's totally frozen like a statue. And I realized I said, I bind you in the name of Jesus. Like, because I didn't know what I was saying.
Locked him up. You locked him up.
Bro. And I'm like, release him in the name of Jesus. And he's like, what'd you do to me? What did you do to me? He starts panicking. He's like freaked out. And I'm like, oh shoot, this is went from like 0 to 1,000 real fast. Because I'm like, oh man, I don't know what I did to you. I just said I bind you in the name of Jesus. And so he's like, something happened, bro. I can feel it in my body. He's like, whatever you said, I don't know what it was, but it like froze my whole body up. And I was like, okay, well maybe we should just keep praying. And I was like, release him in the name of Jesus. He's like, oh, and then like he feels something hit his chest, and he's like I'm like just talking, right? And dude starts like throwing up. And I like thankfully went and got a bucket because I saw that he was about to. I get the trash can and he's like, "Bleh!" And I'm like, what is happening right now? So I'm just like, come out of him in the name of Jesus now. And he's like, "Bleh!" And he starts throwing up like crazy. He's a Freemason, by the way. And I didn't know this. He was a high level Shriner's son, which like I did not know his dad is like super high level occultist. Or I wouldn't have probably even prayed for this guy because I didn't know, because he took his ring off. We were talking about Freemasonry actually, and this is why he said, pray for me. He took the ring off and tried to give it to me. And I was like, no, I don't even want to touch that thing. So I grabbed it with a stick and then like set it on the table. And then we start praying, right? And he starts throwing up and all this crazy stuff starts happening to him. And he's like feeling things come out of him and saying names of stuff. Like it's just wild, right? And so this was my first introduction, not knowing what I'm doing. And then something in me is like, smash the ring. And I'm like, bro, do you want me to smash the ring? And he's just like, yes, please smash the rings. Please smash the ring. There's something in the ring. And so I take his little mason ring. I take it over to the ground. And I have a hammer on a concrete slab. And I'm like, in the name of Jesus, I break any agreements attached to this ring. And I cast them into the abyss. And I go, bam. And I smash the mason ring. Bro, just like projectile vomits. Like, whoa, like a fire hose of like spit foam comes out of his mouth. I've never seen anything like it. Was like, whoa, for like a few seconds, like this, bro. It fills up my trash can like this much, like with spit foam, bro. And he's not eating anything. Okay, he's no food. It's just white spit foam comes out of him, and I'm like shocked looking at what's happening, and I'm just like, this is like very real. Like I'm like realizing, okay, does not make any sense. He goes home. Like, he's like, bro, I feel so much better. And I'm like, okay, well, don't watch porn. Don't drink alcohol. Don't do anything you know you're not supposed to, okay? Just try to walk righteous, because it says in the word, I don't know what I'm doing, okay? And it says that if a demon leaves a man, it will come back with 7 other more violently than the first one. So I have no clue what I'm doing. And I don't know what just happened, but I know that we cast it out. Something left you. I have no clue what I'm doing. And so I call that guy to try to tell him to teach me. And he's like, you have no clue what you're doing at all. He's like, and so eventually the Lord begrudgingly teaches him to train me, but he didn't want to.
Well, you see, that's why I asked Brian, is because the exorcists I have spoken to on and off air, the biographies I've read, the things I've listened to, they always talk about situations about going into something untrained, how dangerous it could be. Seems like you kind of like drifted through that like driftwood, and you came out the other side unscathed. But you know, I
didn't come. No, it wasn't unscathed. That guy we ended up praying for got schizophrenia, and he's now in a mental institution.
Oh, fantastic.
So no, it was not unscathed. And actually, it's a really sad situation actually.
No,
But
no.
I was protected by the Lord. He came back and tried to touch me. I'll tell you this. Let me finish, and I'll tell you this because
Okay.
this will give you more understanding of it. So we end up praying. He ends up getting healed. And he goes back. He comes back a week later. Mind you, I don't know this guy. He doesn't know me. He knows that I'm a dude that prays for people. That's his perspective. He has no clue that I had multiple girlfriends and just a few weeks ago I was like totally polyamorous and whatever, right? And living in total sin. No clue about this. So he comes over and he's like, and we have worship music on. And my ex-girlfriend's there and she's like praising the Lord. And he's like, oh, I love this song. He's like, praise Jesus. I love Jesus so much. And I'm like, that's freaking a really weird response, bro. Like, I was like, hey. And I'm like, you doing all right? He's like, yeah, I just, God is my favorite. And I'm like, okay, that's cool, bro. Like, it's real cool. Like, dude sits down and I'm like, hey, have you started drinking alcohol? And he was like, yeah, a little bit. And his head starts snapping like this away from me. He can't look me in the eye. And I'm like, this is so unusual. And this is where the head's turning thing gets from, and you see in Exorcist, in the Exorcist movie, that's very real. Their heads don't turn around, but their head will just snap and they won't be able to look you in the face. It's pretty weird. So his head's like doing this, like won't look me in the eye. And I'm like, did you start watching porn again? He was like, yeah, a little bit. And I'm like, oh. And I'm like, did you start, doing drugs or anything? He's like, well, maybe like once. And then I sit on the other side of him and his head starts going the other direction. I realize, oh, this thing came back. And I'm like, so
are you sure it wasn't the drugs?
No, it was because he was totally fine at that moment. But I was like, hey, you remember I told you you're not supposed to do those things after we pray because it could get like 7 more might come back and I don't know what I'm doing, right? And he was like, yeah, so you think a demon came back to me? And his head's like doing the snapping thing. And I'm like, well, I don't really know. But all of a sudden, dude, his head just like full snaps, dead pans, looks me straight in the eye. His voice changes, everything. And he speaks and he goes, oh, I have come back. And he goes, and I am so much stronger than you. And I'm like, oh, what? Whoa. And mind you, I've right before this happened, he tried to touch me and something lifted him up off the ground and threw him back. He literally was like, Brian, God's going to do so many amazing things for you. And he goes to touch me and then he goes, boom. And literally before he can put his hand on my head, something picks him up off the ground and throws him back. I've never seen anything like that before because he was acting like he was working for the Lord. And that's what prompted me to ask those questions. I forgot to mention that.
Yeah, well, this is it's like an episode of Buffy.
Bro, it was so real, dude. And it was like nothing I've ever witnessed before, honestly. And I'm just like totally like shocked because the only thing I've seen was people that pray for people and they fall over, right? I've never seen him going, God's going to do so many amazing things in your life, Brian, and you're going to do so much. Let me just pray for you. And he reaches out to touch me and goes, boom, and he goes flying back. And I'm like, what just happened? Like, I'm kind of freaked out. Right. And so then I ask him about that. And then the demon fully manifests, starts talking to me. And dude, I can't get the demon out of the guy. Like I had a full on conversation with this thing and the demon looks at me and he goes, you're weak. He goes, you can't get me out. He goes, you're full of lust. And I go, oh yeah, what have I done? Name it. I said, when have I sinned last? Go for it. Name it right now in front of everybody. Because this was, mind you, this was in front of other people that were there when this was happening. And so I'm like, name it right now. And he's like, oh, you haven't in a while. He goes, but you still want it. I can see it in your heart. He goes, and you're full of polyamory. And he smiles and looks at me, bro. And dude, like, it was so terrifying. It was so terrible because I'm like thinking, this guy doesn't know that I'm like in my head still trying to be like, well, maybe God, I can still have 2 girlfriends. I just got to marry him. This demon straight calls me out in front of everybody. And he knows that I haven't done anything. He goes, you're full of poly. He goes, you can't get me out. He's like, you're weak. And I'm like, oh, okay. So I'm so freaked out. I call one of my friends on the phone. I'm like, bro, remember that guy we prayed for? Well, and we cast the demon out and he got healed and stuff. Like, well, he's back. And there's a demon talking through him and he knows stuff about me and it's kind of freaking me out, bro. You want to try to pray? And he was like, put me on the phone. Put me on the phone. I put him on the phone. It was like, he's like, in the name of Jesus, I bind you. And the demon and the guy starts laughing at my friend on the phone. He's like, you? He's like, you're going to cast me out? Oh, please. He's like, go on, try. He's like, I want to hear you do it again. And then my friend's like, in the name of Jesus, I bind you. And he starts laughing and he goes, you want to know why it doesn't work? He goes, you masturbated 2 hours ago. And then like hangs up on my friend. And I'm like, okay, so this thing knows our personal stuff. It like knows all of our personal business. And this thing's speaking through this guy that doesn't know me, doesn't know anybody. And I'm like, I don't even know what to do. Like, I have no clue what to do at this point. So I call another woman who I heard cast out demons, but I don't know this lady. I get her on the phone, and immediately the guy starts freaking out from her. He's like, not her, not her. And I'm like, whoa, like, okay. And she's like, listen here, demon. He's like, you're going to obey. And he's like, no. He starts panicking. And like, she can't get him out on the phone. She's like, you need to bring him to me tomorrow. I'm like, tomorrow? Like, what do we do right now? Like, I'm like, I don't even know how to handle this right now. And she's like, well, I don't know. Just pray that the Lord will protect you. And I'm like, okay, please, thanks. And we'll just take him home. And like, bro, the most unnerving ride home ever, trying to drive this guy home. Bro, he's like switching between, he like gets in the car and he's like, hey, when did I get here? Where are we at? Oh, hey, Brian, how you doing? And then I'm like, oh, good. And then all of a sudden it switches back and he's like, I'm going to kill you. And I'm like, oh my gosh.
You know, they used to tell us when we were kids that if you jerked off too much, you'd go blind. They should have just told us, that we would have no power to cast off the demons. That would have been a lot more believable. You know, let me ask you this, Brian, because once, obviously this is all like you say, you at this point you had just shaken off a very, very promiscuous lifestyle, and that was just so shortly before your first exorcism. But once you started really understanding, learning the ropes, and reading and researching more and applying it all, did you ever? Because I know that with a full Roman exorcism, commanding the demon to identify itself is very important. Do you, from a demonology standpoint, to be able to ascertain which entity you are dealing with, you're confronting, and is that
irrelevant?
It's irrelevant.
Yeah, and I'll tell you why, because I studied demonology because I studied the Nephilim and I wanted to know history, right? So I studied it though like it was fairy tales. So I was aware of a lot of the demonology stuff before this happened, but I didn't think it was real. It wasn't until this happened to me that the Lord started taking all this knowledge of my life, researching demons and demonology, and then the reality where God started going, oh yeah, this thing here, Asmodeus, this is what it actually is. And it was like pieces just clicking together as the Lord took me through, training me, and the guy ended up training me, and that lady ended up training me, and starting to teach me their methods of how they dealt with this stuff and what they know, and sharing with me. But like, it was already like, I understood it so instantly because I had this occultic sort of knowledge, which is not like necessarily a good thing, but I understood the demonic realm even deeper and faster than what they had even understood. And so it was almost like they just like jump started me into something that God had been prepping me my whole life, unbeknownst to myself, mind you, because once I started learning how demonic realm worked, it was like puzzle pieces compared to what I already knew, the knowledge that I'd already had previously. And so it was like, oh, the Nephilim, understanding of the Nephilim and all that stuff related to it was like, it was just like perfectly puzzle pieced together. But then I understood it in a spiritual matter rather than in a fairy tale matter, which didn't make any sense. Like, it was just like I knew it because I knew it. But once I started casting demons out, it was like, now I know what these principles are. And like, so many people want to be like, there's a lot of people in deliverance. It's just a bunch of like nonsense, honestly. When you get into deliverance stuff, because people that cast out demons, like there's people that don't hear in the spirit, and they don't, it's almost like putting on armor and like blindfolding yourself. And then like, you can't hear or see in the spirit, and you're just like swinging a sword around. What good is that doing? Like, what are you going to, like, how are you going to fight an invisible entity? I mean, we're dealing with invisible entities. So if you can't perceive them in some capacity, then you don't know what you're doing. And then there's a lot of people that are like, try to make up methods for this kind of thing. Like, oh, you got to say their name, or you got to do this, or you got to identify them. Like, bro, that's not how demons work. Demons don't care about that stuff.
Let me ask you this, because there's another thing about exorcisms that, like I said, that I find these to be common fact patterns that come up no matter who the exorcist is. They could be a Roman Catholic, they could be Protestant, one denomination or another. And usually I'll hear from somebody that this entire ordeal is a confrontation. It's not a conversation, because you can't trust anything that comes out of them. But yeah, still, sure. I wonder, do you have, I mean, no matter what, you still have ears. You're still hearing. I mean, you just said the demon just told your friend that he jerked off 2 hours ago, and probably was true. You know, it's not like everything is going to be a lie. It just might be the way that what they're telling you is being applied is manipulative in some way. So I ask you, during a deliverance, have demons ever dropped details about, you know, that would have like revealed something about historic events or corrections to mainstream history or something like that? Has any
absolutely
anything that you can verify that you learned from a demon?
I mean, yes, but it's not like and it's not like you should take demons' words as a form of
understood. But give me something that you verified from them that you would have not been able to learn any other way.
You know, up until I started casting demons out, I had the assumption that all demons were disembodied Nephilim spirits. I had this assumption until one of the demons that I cast out told me it was 3,000 years old. And I said, and I felt, and I couldn't get this demon out of this guy. And I was like, where did you want to go? This is the dude right in the beginning. I couldn't get it out. And the demon told me, I said, where do you want to go? And he goes, into the pills. Put me into the pills. I love the way they make people feel. This is what the demon tells me. So I realized, you know, okay, well, pills are something that demons can go into. They love pills. Secondarily, I learned a few things, you know, dealing with a lot of demonic stuff. I've learned reading between the lines, if you would, of like what the patterns of demons say and what they do. You start to figure things out. But one of the demons told me it was 3,000 years old. And I was like, 3,000 years old? That's not how old the earth is, right? It's supposedly 5. Obviously now you know, when you get into little season stuff, you start questioning that really, really fast. But he tells me he was 3,000 years old. And I was like, and he was like, he's so powerful. And I'm like, that's not how old the earth is. So like, what, you know, I'm like, what are you, just some like sad little Nephilim spirit? It's not like you meant to be here. And then he got offended. The spirit in the man actually got offended and was like, I'm not a Nephilim spirit. It was like he was disgusted that like the Nephilim were below him. And he was like, don't call me that. They're less than. And I was like, really? Like, that's a weird kind of response to have from a demon, that I thought all of them were disembodied Nephilim spirits. They're not all the same thing. And if it's 3,000 years old, that means they're being born still. So there's a big misconception as to how they're being created, where they come from. They're all different ages. And a lot of demons act like children, by the way. Side note, most of them act like children. And so anybody that deals with demonic entities knows that the demon, they'll tell on themselves, they throw fits, they cry, they scream, they act like unruly little children, little kids. And you're like, well, why do they act like kids? It's because they're not these ancient eon old beings half the time. Like more than half the time, they're newly born entities to some degree. So, I mean, this is kind of a controversial subject, but anybody that's in deliverance that deals with this, I could explain some theories that they would be like, yeah, that makes sense. The fact that the demons all act like children is pretty weird.
It's definitely contrary to things that we have heard on the show in the past about where they are and what their origin story is. And well, what would you say about something like, because you go into ancient civilizations, and what are your opinions? Because I've had this conversation with Top and Raven with Nephilim Death Squad. What are your opinions on who the gods of Mount Olympus were?
Oh yeah, I mean they're definitely the Nephilim. Like they were the Nephilim. I don't know if they're Gen like 3 or Gen 2. I don't believe they're Gen 1. They are large, so they in most instances the Olympus gods were large. I believe their parents are Kratos and the Titans, right? So the Titans were probably Gen 1. And so the Olympians are either Gen 2 or potentially Gen 3 of the Nephilim. So that means they're like a third angel or a quarter angel beings. They were like mixed from the Titans. So it seems like, you know, there's multiple different there's different kinds of demons also, by the way. I'll say that because there's other texts that allude to what I'm saying about them being children, because in the book of Jubilees, I believe it talks about the fallen angels teaching men how to work and control demons. And so you're like, wait, if the fallen angels taught men how to control and work with demons, then that means there had to be demons before the fallen angels came, right? I mean, that's pretty obvious, right? So obviously demons aren't the same thing as the Nephilim spirits always. There's different kinds of demons. There's different kinds of entities. And this is tethered to that. But Zeus and all of them, they're more than likely, I would say, second to third uh, quarter human or quarter angel beings that still retained their gigantism to some degree, but also had more of a humanistic perspective of reality because they talked and communed with people.
Well, you just brought up something that I was actually hoping that we can discuss a little bit, and that was Satan's little season. This is something I've heard about, and I've seen it get brought up in a number of different ways. And I know that you've done Mud Flood and Tartaria talks throughout all of I think the last couple of months alone. I've seen a few things come out of you. Maybe they're old clips, who knows? But still, I know that you're up to speed on this. A big part of some people when they talk about Tartaria and the old world and, the mud floods and what was being, the one great reset or another. And sometimes they'll talk about that'll go hand in hand with Christ's millennial reign, that there was 1,000 years. And this is what I want to see your opinion on, because everybody has a different opinion there too. And some of it is biblical, and I'm not that good at it. So Satan's little season and Christ's millennial reign, they're like 1,000-year terms each. Which one comes first? Which one comes second? And about when do they all begin? When do they all end? Because here we are, 2,025 years after year zero here, and people are wondering, is this really the tail end of Satan's little season? Because it seems like it's just ramping up, and so I wonder what your timeline of events really are, starting from Christ's birth.
Yeah, so when it comes to the millennial reign kingdom, obviously we're shifting a lot of gears here, but when it says this, Revelation 20 is kind of where we're at, and it doesn't specifically say that Satan's reign will be 1,000 years. It doesn't say that at all, actually. Okay. It just says that Christ's reign will be 1,000 years, and so when you read it in Revelation 20, it's kind of the idea of where we're at. And you really just got to read it. So I'll just read it. It says, "Then I saw an angel coming down from heaven, holding in his hand a key to the abyss and a heavy chain. He seized the dragon, that ancient serpent that is the devil or Satan, and he chained him for 1,000 years. And that's what we call the Dark Ages. The Dark Ages lasted about 1,000 years. And he was chained in the abyss. You're in New York, right next to, what is those abysses that the Twin Towers are at? And we already know that the Statue of Liberty is Satan. So it's kind of interesting, all those iconography right there. He sees the dragon, that ancient serpent who is the devil, and he bound him for 1,000 years. And the angel threw him into the abyss and locked it and sealed it so that he could not deceive the nations anymore until the 1,000 years was over. After that, he must be loosed for a little while, or a short season. And that's what we're getting this from. And so
why? Like, why? It's like, okay, well, now you get, like, at that point, why do you let the dragon out to play a little bit more? Why?
Well, there's a lot of why. This comes down to theoretical speculation of why God does what he does. I mean, God's the one that said it there. So, like, we can't really ask why, but I can give you a reason why. I have a theory as to why, and I'll just keep reading and I'll explain it to you. See, it says, "Then I saw the thrones of those who had seated on them were given the power to judge. And I saw the souls of those that had been beheaded been executed because of their proclamations of the truth that Jesus revealed and the word of God. They had not worshipped the beast or its image, nor had they received its mark on their forehead or their hands," which by the way, Nero was marking people on their forehead and their hands. This is a common misconception. In fact, we see this reenactment happening in Catholic Church. We call it Ash Wednesday, when they mark their forehead. That's actually a reenactment of what's happening from the mark of the beast when you look into the details of it. And same thing with the people the India, they put the little dot on their forehead. That's also a reenactment of that same mark being done from this thing. When you tether it, because basically Nero was having offerings to him at the temples and in the markets, and the people had to grab the ash and then mark their forehead with the ash and their wrist to buy and sell in the markets. So that was basically kind of a thing that's kind of interesting that we see perverted in today's society. "They had not worshipped the beast or its image, had not received its mark on their forehead or their hand. They came to life and ruled as kings with Christ for 1,000 years. Okay. The rest of the dead did not come to life until the 1,000 years was over. This is the first resurrection of the dead. Happy and grateful or blessed are those who include included in the first rising of the dead. The second death has no power over them. They shall be priests of God and Christ and will reign with him for 1,000 years. After the 1,000 years is over, Satan will be loosed from his prison and he will go out to deceive the nations scattered all over the world. So what's happening is, if you notice, it says they came to life and ruled with Christ for 1,000 years. The rest of the dead did not come to life until the 1,000 years was over. Who are the rest of the dead? And this is where it comes to the answer of why. Because the rest of the dead, I believe, in my personal perspective of studying this and kind of getting understanding, the rest of the dead are all the Canaanites and all the Philistines and all the people that lived before that didn't get an opportunity to know or meet Christ. They didn't get that opportunity to meet who Christ was or live a life with Christ. The Lord allowed them to be resurrected under this new covenant under Christ. And that's who we are. We're either the children of the resurrected rest of the dead, because we would be living after that 1,000 years. The 1,000 years where Jesus and the saints ruled and they reset the world and made it all perfect. And that's why all the temples got destroyed. And that's why everything's been decimated and wiped over. And that's why we dig up all these old temples, okay? Because everything got forgotten.
Yeah,
and so the Lord got reset.
What can you say about the theory that tags along to that one about the changing of the calendars? That essentially that there was a
Satan did that.
That there was mud floods, and that was from Satan, and that it buried history and changed our calendar so that the real date that we're in right now should be somewhere around 1,200 or 1,300, not 2020.
We don't even know.
Yes, something. Not as much as what we have, or I don't know.
They've added either 700, 500, or 200 or 300 years to the calendar. They've added that to kind of spread out to compensate and destroy the evidence of the millennial reign kingdom.
And you believe that?
I think, yeah, that's pretty obvious, actually, because when you look at the Chinese calendar and when you look at the Roman calendar and you look at the Greek Roman calendar space and you look at the Jewish calendars, they all have recorded events. Okay. There's like historical recorded events. Okay. And those recorded historical events can be lined up in worldwide spaces. And there's one recorded event that happened in 536 AD, supposedly 536 AD. The whole world went into darkness and the sun stopped shining and the moon turned blood red. Doesn't it say that would happen in Revelation? Oh yeah, it does. The sun stopped shining in 536 AD. It's called the 536 AD darkness. Okay. Now this is recorded in multiple calendars. Now, if we take the current paradigm of the calendars that they said exist, we can see that event happening in all of these calendars, and we can line that event up because it was a worldwide darkness. There was no sun for a year and a half. How insane is that, bro? There was no sun on the entire world. All the people's, their babies were being eaten by their parents. What did Jesus say? How terrible would it be for nursing mothers in those times? Bro, like all of that happened. Like people just don't realize
I'm reading it. I'm reading it right now.
Yeah, dude, it was crazy. And so 536 AD darkness, bro, like we can still see remnants of the moon that turn blood red. When the moon's low in the horizon, it's red. Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah.
That's the leftover remnants of the moon that was once blood red. And that was because supposedly a volcano went off and that volcano blackened the sun, but the moon was closer. So the moon was still visible, but the smoke in the atmosphere turned the blood red, turned the moon red. Now, here's the thing. We can see it right now. If there's a fire in your area and you look up at the moon will be red. It doesn't matter. Like the moon will look red if there's a fire in your area. Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah, I remember. Yeah, every time there's fires over there with you guys in the West Coast, it turns everything red halfway across the country into Canada.
Yep. Now imagine a volcano, a massive volcano. Do you know the first recorded volcano that happened? Pompeii. You see those people frozen in time looking like that, bro? Those people, that's Revelation. You're looking at the remnants of those people that were in Revelation. When that volcano erupted, that was like supposedly the first volcano that we recorded in history being ever going off. And so like that was the moment Jesus came back, we think, in some capacity. Like that was like in that somewhere in that time, Jesus came back and there was destruction. And there was like the moon turned red, the sun stopped shining, people were eating their babies. Like all this stuff took place, but people just don't know it because they don't read their history books. Like if you actually dug into the history book, you would be like, oh my gosh, like that's what we're doing right now is we're taking all the events of history and lining them up and pointing them out from the Bible. And I'm working on this with a few other people. We're trying to figure out the alignment of what the actual calendar is based on the historical events that supposedly happened or that already happened. They were recorded to have happened. You know, and a lot of people think the rapture, like there's a big argument of the rapture, like, oh, the rapture's happening and people are just going to disappear. And we're going to go to heaven, guys. Have you read the rapture verse? Do you know what it says? The rapture verse says, two people will be in a field, one will be taken, one will be left. Two women will be grinding at the mill, one will be taken, one will be left. Two men will be lying in bed, one will be taken, one will be left. You know what Jesus says? They say, where, Lord? Where will they be taken? His response, where the dead bodies lie, the vultures will gather. What? I thought we were getting taken to heaven, bro. That sounds like a whole lot of people falling over dead, doesn't it? That don't sound like us getting snatched away into the great heavenly clouds, does it?
Well, it sounds like a world that has reached a fork in the road, and I don't know. It's just going to go one way or another for people. Those who are a little bit more on the new age side of things, we'll talk about that the fifth age and all that stuff. And we're going to be moving into a 5-dimensional world, and that kind of jump off point is it's usually described a little bit like a rapture to some people.
But here's the word rapture. He says, where will they be taken? He says, where their dead bodies lie, the vultures will gather. That means taken unto death. That's the word raptura, okay? Or rapizio, okay? That word is where we get the word rape. That's not a good word. It means to ravishingly take you away by force, or take somebody away by force to death. The rapture is not a good word, guys. It means the opposite. It means violently and negatively take you away. That's what the word rapture means, okay? That's what that actually means. So when you realize, oh, wait a second, this is the word where we get the concept of rapture. It means a bunch of people are going to fall over dead. Where do we have evidence of a bunch of people falling over dead? Do we have that in history? Oh, we sure do. It's called the catacombs. And they're all over the world, where a bunch of people fell over dead. But the narrative they tell you is like, oh yeah, they dug up the graves and they stripped the bones and they took all the flesh off and took all the clothes, and then they tried the bones, and then their finger bones just went missing everywhere, and they just took the skulls and the femurs and the arm bones and they stacked them all nicely and neatly in a pile in France and all over the world, because there's like 9 different catacombs, by the way, all over the entire world, and they just stacked them all in there, you know, and they were all just different age bones. Yep, that's what happened. They dug them up and then stacked them. That many bones? Are you kidding? It goes on for miles, bro. And like when you look at those catacomb bones, you want to know what's funny? You know what they're missing? A lot of them are missing finger bones. And you got to ask yourself, why are they missing the finger bones? You know what vultures do when they eat skeletons? You ever heard of a sky burial?
Yeah.
They eat the finger bones. They eat the finger bones because the vulture can dissolve bones in their stomach. Their acid can dissolve bone. The vultures eat the finger bones. The only thing they can't eat is the femurs, the legs, the arms, and your skull. They eat most of the rest of it. They can fit it down their throat. They can get it in there. They can crunch it up, but they can't eat. And that what are filled?
So then that is
in the catacombs.
You're saying that those catacombs are the evidence of a past rapture, or the rapture. It already happened.
Yeah, it would absolutely be a pretty prominent, obvious statement. But the history they're telling us doesn't make sense. But when you look at it logically, you're like, oh, that makes a lot more sense.
Well, let me ask you this, because we have only a couple minutes left, and of course, what you cover and the questions I have, this could go on forever. So I would love to have you back again one day and do some more. But for now, let's widen it out and let's make it a little bit more contemporary. I saw somebody in the chat room before say the state of Minnesota needs an exorcism right now, and then I started thinking about just the culture at large. I started thinking about something we were talking about actually back in September when Charlie Kirk was killed, and I want to throw this in your lap and just let you give pretty much your assessment of where we are, where we're headed, and what might be coming next. What I had said was that the strangest and the most morbid takeaway from the whole Charlie Kirk murder, aside from how gruesome and public it was and all that stuff, and then all of the misinformation that popped up around the event itself afterwards, it was more so analyzing the public's reaction to it. And that I said that it was very clear to me within just hours that we had seen a blood sacrifice where like in the past, somebody sacrifices a chicken or a goat or something like that, and there seems to be some sort of satisfaction. Something had been completed. And meanwhile, when Charlie was killed, I said the thing that kills that really makes me my skin crawl is that innocent blood has been spilled. And instead of there being some sort of a a feeling of satisfaction for those who were feeding off of this sacrifices energy, it was almost like catnip had been thrown down in front of cats, and they were just it was like a writhing. It was like they wanted more. It was I'm telling you, it was a very strange thing to see so many people, especially in public. God knows what was going on in private, but anybody, there's so much that was being put out there on traditional forms of media, rationalizations, people who are just outright celebrating it all. It seemed like a very strange ritualistic blood sacrifice that people were eating up in ways where they seem to want more. And I said, that just makes me feel a bit sicker than I already am. So how do you assess the current culture right now as far as the way that we that we're operating in that sense, and what's coming next?
Yeah, I mean, like I believe is that we are in Satan's little season, and God allowed Satan to be let out to test us. That's why he was let back out under this perspective, under this worldview. And so Satan has been let out literally to see those whose hearts are truly his. That's what the Bible says. God looks to and fro for those whose hearts are truly his. And when you see the world in that sort of light, you kind of perceive that, like, all this stuff that's going on right now, this is all a test. We are being tested. And right now we're seeing a bit of the fabric of the lies of the world falling apart. And it's making it a little bit clearer for everybody to recognize what's actually going on. But you are being tested. We're all being tested. And the Lord's allowing this stuff to fall apart right now in a beautiful way, I think, honestly, because it's pretty awesome that it's happening. But it should concern everyone. It should really concern you. Why? Because, God tends to get a hold of people right before they die. So, I mean, the fact that the world's waking up to this sort of Christian perspective while simultaneously all this evil is like being unfolded right in front of our eyes, like, I think is a testimony to the fact that maybe something not so good is coming this way. Like maybe there's a big destruction coming this way, and people need to get woken up to the fact that something's about to happen. It seems to be the pattern that God gets the attention of the people right before they die. So the fact that America is waking up like this and everybody's realizing there's corruption and wickedness going on, and there's like rituals being done right in front of us, right in front of our faces. Every concert is a satanic ritual concert at this point now. And like, dude, it's all just so blatantly in our face. Should make you think, why, Lord, why are you doing this? Why are you allowing this? If not for the case that this should be a big warning, should be a very big warning that people should start really getting serious about hearing the Lord's voice, should really be getting serious about knowing God, should be really getting serious about what's coming and being able to hear him and guide him. Because if you can't hear what the Lord's directing you to, it says in the word, does he not tell his prophets before things come? Does he not warn his people before the disaster comes? But it seems like there is a disaster coming. Seems like there is some collapse coming. And it seems like God is bringing us into this peace or this space. And we really need to heed that. In my personal opinion, that's just what I feel. So make friends with people around you. Bring people to the truth of the Lord.
Well, I'm glad
that who knows what's coming.
I'm glad that we're friends now, Brian, because when the 3 days of darkness comes and we have to go swinging our battle axes outside, hopefully we find each other on the battlefield and we can link arms and do our thing. And I'm looking forward to episode 2. Hopefully the world doesn't end before episode 2. Let everybody know how to find your work. It's like I said, you're on YouTube, but I found you on Instagram, and this is where I would put people. You're very active there. Where would you rather people go if not Instagram?
Just Instagram and YouTube is probably the biggest platform. I'm trying to grow my Facebook. So if you guys want to try to find me on Facebook, you can do that. But yeah, YouTube, Instagram is pretty much the most of what I do. I'm on X, but X doesn't, like, people share my videos on X and they go super viral. But when I share them, they just tend to like, I haven't figured out the algorithm there yet. Yeah,
I'm mostly talking to myself on X. So I don't know. I've been there forever. One day I'll get it right, but I'm happy that we got to link up tonight, man. Demon Erasers, do you have a schedule for posting or live streams? What should people look out for?
Yeah, every Saturday I do a live stream on YouTube, and it's pretty cool. I bring guests on and stuff, and then throughout the week I spontaneously will post a live stream on my YouTube. And so my YouTube, I'm do longer format stuff. My Instagram's just kind of like all over the place, crazy, spontaneous stuff.
Yep.
But yeah, the YouTube, pretty good spot to follow me on and get connected to the things that I talk about in a whole lot more detail.
Well,
Like
thank
a
you,
whole lot
man.
more.
Listen, the energy tonight was through the roof. I loved it. It was a great introduction, and the next time we link up, I'm looking for more of the same, man. Thank you for all the time,
Sweet.
and it's been great to get to know you.
Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on, bro. That's awesome. Let's do it again.
Absolutely, Demon Erasers, Brian. Thank you so much.
All right, later.
Take care. Wow, ladies and gentlemen, just call in. Just call in. I just call in. What do you have to say? Or if you're a cigarette smoker, call in tonight. You can go everywhere with that one. Cigarette smoker, you better put your pants on. Don't play with yourself. That's for sure. That I mean, just in a practical sense, it only holds you back anyway. You know, it only holds you back. Never productive when you're playing with yourself. So don't do it. Smoking though, I don't know. I mean, I don't smoke cigarettes. I can't remember the last time I had a cigar at this point because it's not comfortable outside. Can't go outside and have a cigar and be cold. So it's been a while since I smoked hookah. I don't think that the bad days I have in between a hookah are bad because I haven't had the hookah. But let's see if we can get some new here. Willie, welcome to the show. What's on your mind?
Hey, I'm going outside to get away from my shit, when it's cold. And yeah, you can do that. And I don't know about the polyamorous stuff. Did he do butt stuff or something? I don't know.
No, he said
I watched it a little bit.
He had
but
two
it's
girls.
Crazy. He was a pretty good thing.
No, he said that he had two girlfriends. If you're gonna be, I guess if you're gonna be,
no, the menage a trois. No, that sounds like international and French. That seems okay.
Yeah. Well, if it's French,
Right,
I don't know.
I got confused in the beginning.
Well, can
you hear me okay? Am I not screwing up?
I hear you fine. I often wonder if you.
That's good because I can see now, man. I can see the sky tonight with my. I got both of my eyeballs done. Remember, I told you I was going blind.
You got new eyeballs, yeah.
Well, not new eyeballs. They put a needle in your eyeball, right, and they swish it around. They do like a cyanic thing, and then they stick a new one in there, a new lens, and I got both of them done. I'm so happy.
Oh. Well,
I wish I was like Somalian because it wouldn't cost me no money. I owe like $10,000, but I got a credit card for no interest for a little bit.
Just get a new state ID.
No, I can see it.
I'm forget about it. What the hell does it matter? Are you?
Hey, so what else did you want to say to me, Frank? I wanted
nothing.
to say,
all right.
Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Merry Christmas. Good.
I'm so glad everything was
Thank you,
so
Willie.
Good. And demons and that shit is no joke.
No, they're not, Willie.
You know how you get rid of them?
Okay, all right. Well, how do you get rid of it? Go ahead, Willie. How do you get rid of it?
How do you get rid of the demons or the shit that their devils are near you?
Quick.
All you gotta say is the blood of Jesus Christ go away, and they fucking melt. I've seen this and I've done this, and it's a thing, and it's simple as that. The blood of Jesus Christ says go away, and that's it.
Okay, thank you so much.
It's simple like that, man. So what else, Frank?
No, it sounds great, Willie. Thank you so much. I'm gonna need the blood of Jesus Christ right now if I don't stop. So let's take another call. Here we go. Sentinel, how are you?
Hello, my friend. Good evening, Frank. It was a fascinating show tonight.
Well, I'm so happy. So happy you liked it. I had a good time over here.
I don't think I could be more surprised with interesting ideas about theology and history than I was tonight with him redefining the eras. And I actually intellectually engaged that and said, oh, my God, I want to think about this even more.
Oh, yeah, I know. I know. It's one of those things. It's one of those things that you think that you've had your fill, and then you know why I like Brian so much. He reminds me. Brian reminds me of my old friend Johnny, who I am thinking about extending an invite to come back onto the show. If Johnny comes on the show, Anthony's going to have to be here, and so is Matt. And Johnny's actually found a little fame of his own these days. He has a paranormal TikTok channel that has done pretty well. He scrubs down gravestones, and he talks to ghosts through a ghost radio application or something like that. And we have so many stories. Johnny was always a character. He was always fighting what he said were like an army of goths that were always, these devilish goths, these gangs of roving goth kids that were always around the town. We never saw them, but we were always training to get ready for them. We had protocols. We had demon fighting protocols. We had, oh man, we can talk about that. Johnny thought he was an angel vampire. It was two things in one. So he was an angelic vampire, and he told us once that his real name wasn't Johnny, and if we knew what his name was, he wouldn't be able to tell us his name because he would have to say it in a frequency that would make our heads explode. So we never actually learned his name. And I think I would love to have him on the show again, and that would be a good night.
Oh, I can't wait for you to have Johnny on with your brother. That'd be absolutely excellent and entertaining.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, I think the thing that really got me clued in and like, oh, I want to know more about this, or I want to think more about this, is incorporating the mythical thought process of different cultures in the world, and looping them into as being part of the Nephilim, to include the Greek gods and all that, in his understanding of demons in this spiritual other dimension that's interacting with us here. I don't know that I quite buy that we're just receiving thoughts. I do think we do receive thoughts. I've told you before about, I've known someone who was demonically oppressed, that thought that the pain in their belly would go away if they would just stab themselves, which really seems like a super irrational thing. But when they got invited to church and they went on a random weeknight to the sermon, the preacher said that Jesus died to heal your mind. And in that moment, that person felt compelled to repent and accept Christ as their Savior. And those kind of irrational things went away. And that is a beautiful story of deliverance. And it's amazing. So we all want to believe, and I think that we are given our own ability to kind of perceive this reality, and hopefully through our imperfect language, we can have some kind of shared meaning. But there is a spiritual aspect that each of us touch.
Yep.
And the guy isn't wrong. If you do remember that first time you stole something, you do know the first time you did something wrong on purpose, whatever it is. And that probably does have a spiritual consequence. And that was really serious thought that I wanted to think about and share, that it meant something to me.
You carry it along. Thank you for the call, Sentinel. You do carry those things, and it's true, because when you look back, they almost become core memories for, you can call them the wrong reasons, but they're just human reasons. I mean, we are just full of error. We just error. So I remember that. I remember that stuff. As far as stealing goes, I try to think about stealing. I don't know. You feel like if you're I think once again, how are you raised? And because I think you have a very short window of time. And then people are raised right and things just go sideways. But I don't see how you can be raised right and moral and just feel okay about stealing unless it was a survival situation down the line. You know? It's like you really have to have that internal barometer burned out of you. You know, it has to be a very conscious decision to do to somebody. No doubt. Let's take a call, and I'm going to get to these super chats because I have quite a few that came in, and I want to make sure everybody is in the running for these 5 silver dimes, Mercury head dimes that have traveled through time to meet you. 219, you're on the air. Who's this?
Hello, Frank. Long-time listener, showing my caller.
What? Who's this?
This is Steven.
Steven. How are you, Steven?
I'm well. What a synchronicity, serendipitous night. You talking about snorting and polyamory, and I am both.
Snorting?
And polyamory.
Wait.
I can give a double nose job.
You can give I can't. Are you speaking through a kazoo or something like that? I mean, I want to get all the.
No, the damage from snorting has caused problems with my feet.
Okay, so you snort what, and you are also polyamorous?
Oh yeah, I can give a double nose job. And I can do it through my ears too. I can do Kegel exercises with my eustachian tubes.
Really?
Yep.
Well.
And I'm thinking about taking off smoking so I can get a stoma tube so I can do it through my throat too.
Well, that you know what? You have your 2026 is all plotted out for you, sir. Good, Steven. Steve's got it all plotted out this year. Okay, let's see here. 914-200-0269. And in the meantime, Gribble Sillin says this is the best show and the best host. Well, that's so nice of you, Gribble. That's very, very nice of you. Let me put you into the running there. Hold on. Gribble Sillin into the name picker. What else do we have? Hold on. Okay, Jay Britt says, wow, talking about food for thought. Brian just dumped a feast on us. Great guest. Yeah. I like I said, the energy at first was incredible. I'm used to having stories told like that. I haven't heard a story told like that with such vigor and zest in a long time. So it was almost like I got brought back as he was telling his story about, especially when he started throwing up. I was almost like I saw Chris Farley from Tommy Boy. When he's talking about the throwing up, I was like, I wonder how Chris Farley would tell this story if it was scripted. So I was just enjoying that, not to in any way, shape, or form diminish the story he was telling. It's just that the delivery was, I don't know, kind of heartwarming, even though we were talking about some heavy stuff. Let's see here. Gribble Sillin says, Wisconsin cheese is better than Vermont cheese. I got you, Frank. Okay. That's Damien from Wisconsin, Gribble Sillin. Damien came to the jamboree, and he said, I swore I would never come to New York, so I want you to know how momentous of an occasion this is, that I came out here for you, my friend. And he came bearing gifts with his lovely wife, bearing gifts from Wisconsin. Wonderful array of cheeses and cured meats and all of that stuff. And back in September, we among the cheeses was this block of yellow Wisconsin cheddar that was extra sharp, crumbling, awesome. And I said, Aurora, you want to try some sharp cheese? She goes, sharp? Because she didn't know what that meant. So I said, what? I said, yeah, it's sharp. So I bit into it. I went, oh. And she thought that it had cut me. I said, oh, you got to try it. And then she's like kind of suspicious of me. And she took a little crumb of it and she ate it. And then she pretended to she went, oh. But after all the acting, she loved it. And she's like, can I have some more sharp cheese? She would ask me that every day for like the week that followed. Can I have a little bit more sharp yellow cheese? And then the day came that it was the end of the cheese. I said, don't worry, we're going to find some sharp cheese together. And I said, hey, get in the car. You and me, let's go. And we went to a Whole Foods, and we went to another place and all that stuff. And we're just looking at their array of cheddars. There's a Vermont cheddar. There's a New York cheddar. Whatever. We're looking for yellow. We're looking for the sharpest shit you can get. Nothing was like this. Nothing we got. Maybe we'll get lucky still. Damien said he's going to send us a block. I said, I will pay you for it. Can you please send us a block, whatever the hell that was? Because everything out here, it says it's sharp, but we cut into it. It doesn't crumble like it does. It doesn't have that kind of bite, It doesn't have that kind of bite that we got from Wisconsin. I got to give it to you guys out there in Wisconsin, you cheeseheads. It's real. It's real. I would take it over Vermont any day. Vermont can keep its maple syrup. Okay? Can keep it pancake syrup. Go ahead. I'm sure that there's some good cheeses out there as well. I'll eat cheese. But I was trying to reproduce that particular experience. JDBGQ1. 6-7. The first time somebody brought that here. It's the first time somebody left that on my doorstep. How dare you, sir? Thank you for the super chat, though. Gribble again. Okay. Thank you. Master Willie, thank you. Eli P says the guest has very colorful stories, to put it lightly. Some good points, but I'd say that if God spoke verses to me, I'd remember the verses by heart. Maybe. I don't know if I would know them by heart. Maybe I would. I mean, that's pretty big. Coming right to you. Now, I gotta thank Jorico 13, who just gifted about an hour ago. Gifted 10 nugget memberships to the Quite Frankly YouTube that have been taken up by Erdem 2, Peppermint Patty, AK, Desiree Conrad, JJ, Maggie B, Jeff Riggs, Rindy Bell, Kilo Alpha Tango, Dark Brain 4211. Jorico became a member of the Jester Club. That means that he also gets free super chats, just to submit to me mailbag questions. It's like the $10 mailbag question combined with some other things from Patreon and Subscribestar. But Jorico, I can't thank you enough for becoming a member. And to the 10 other people that are now official sponsors of the show for, I guess, a month. I don't know how long that goes on for. I can't imagine that he's going to keep paying for you guys forever. But now for the next month, you are going to be able to go into the members-only section on YouTube, the same thing that's on the members-only section on quitefrankly.tv or Patreon, Subscribestar. I post all the same things everywhere, so wherever you want to sponsor the show, you're getting the same things, unless you want something special, like to become a pen pal of mine or whatever. That's on Patreon and Subscribestar only. But all of these people now can see all the members-only videos that I've been posting over the holidays, the recipes. You guys go in there. You can see, all of the live links for the Sunday streams you're going to be getting now. You guys are all getting access to the book club for the next few months, or for the next month, I guess. And also, I guess if it lasts a month from today, then you're going to be in on the film club. At least the first film club watch party for February, which is going to be Ready Player One. And then we're going to watch Drive together in the third week of February. Welcome to all of you. I hope that you have a good time, because I give the world to my my monthly sponsors. You can sponsor for as little as $5 a month. I make sure that you get hundreds of dollars in value, because a little goes that long of a way. I can't thank you enough, Jorico. Can't thank you enough. Really can't. Martin Foley, thank you so much. Lindsay Thompson says, it's my 33rd birthday this Sunday. Thanks, Mama. We were just talking about the Masons tonight. Happy birthday. Your big 33rd birthday, Lindsay Thompson. Let me put that in there. as well. Two Dogs Mike D says the Kegels didn't work, Ricky. What happened? This is embarrassing. I could really use that survival kit right now. Thanks, bro. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, my friend. You might be able to win it still. So I got to put two dogs in there. Lindsay, let's take a call. Murray, 417. You're on the air. Go ahead.
Happy birthday. Your big 33rd
Murray.
birthday. Lindsay Thompson. That is there as well.
There's a delay, guys. There's a delay. Okay. We only have a couple of minutes left. Am I really going to be able to do here's what you can do. For the last 15 minutes, if you want to call in with a weird addiction, you can. But I'm going to be building up this thread, and we will do it again. So consider this us planting the weird addiction seed. You go to quitefrankly.tv. The forum is right up there. I also tweeted the forum. Here, I'm going to put it in the chat room right now. There is the forum link for weird addictions and bad habits. Weird addictions and bad habits. I put it in there. I would love for you guys to add it in there. Let's take another call from Murray. You there? Murray? They just don't learn, do they? Tyler, welcome to the show.
Hey, Frank, I really want to slap your butt cheek.
Oh, thanks. Oh, they didn't go. Oh, well, there he goes. Another butt slapping. Jenna, are you there?
Yes.
Jenna?
Yes.
Hello.
How are you?
Welcome to the show.
My first time calling, but I've been listening for like years.
Wow. Well, I'm glad that you took the leap tonight. What's on your mind? Give me something.
I just found it really interesting what he was saying about Revelation, because my husband and I had done a deep dive like years ago about it, and I feel like the church doesn't cover all the different views about it.
Mm-hmm.
And my husband and I came to the same conclusion that he did, that most of that stuff has already happened.
That it's already see now. I have seen a lot of that passed around there too. It's already happened, but then what does that mean? What's left? Just the second coming?
Yes. So we're still looking for his coming, but there's a book by Steve Gregg, and it covers all the different views on Revelation, and it's fantastic. I would totally recommend reading that.
Okay. See, I am interested in different theories on that and how people are, obviously everybody has to put some sort of theory behind it, because it's all very cryptic. And of course, we are reminded time and time again that nobody knows the time, nobody knows the place or the hour. And
right.
So I don't know. I love the whole timeline kerfluffage type of stuff. And the thing that the fact that there's always so much overlap with the Tartaria people, I think that's cool there too, because so many of them don't touch the spiritual end of it. Like, for example, Matt from Cultivate Elevate, who he'll be probably coming back on the show late in the month of January. I want to have him on like once a month for a conspiracy theory roulette. I mean, he's come on to talk about mud flood stuff that has come up in conversation with him at least a small handful of times, even if it's just in passing and not just a main topic for the night. And he doesn't really get very spiritual and prophetic about things. So there is a path people walk on analyzing that subject matter that is kind of devoid of any kind of Christian eschatology or anything like that. So I always found it interesting that there are different versions of that whole mud flood in the old world versus the new theories out there. There's different versions that have different layers, and some of them are missing. So we'll keep that in mind as we go forward.
Yeah, that sounds great.
Well, all the best to you and your husband. I'm glad you called in, and I hope it's not the last time.
Okay, I'll try. I'm usually trying to get the kids to bed around this time, so it's hard to call in.
I get you, but have a good night.
You too. Bye-bye.
You got it. And Merry New Year. Alyssa Valdez 5779 says, weird night, but I was amused. It was fun. Great job. Thank you. Well, you are in the running now for the silver and the shark kit. Genie Yankee fan, show love. You are a saint, Frank. Don't ever call me a saint. No. We aspire. Outlier. You there?
Frank?
Who is this?
Indeed I am. Your friend Zoso.
What the hell? Every time you call in, it's from either a different number or a different name pops up. What does outlier mean?
No, it's my company phone, so it's they recently changed it, so anyway.
Got you. Go ahead.
Hey man, incredible guest tonight. It's so timely. I couldn't believe when I saw the preview and it said Satan's Little Season. I'm like, son of a gun, he's on it. I came across this like a couple of months ago, and the first time I bounced across it, I treated it the same way I treated Flat Earth, like, yeah, right, But I have since done some digging in this, and it is, I mean, you guys, you got to have him back. He only kind of skimmed the surface, and there's another guy who would be an equally interesting guest I could turn you on to. But, man, I've actually been wanting to do a show on this. I liked his thoughts on everything from the catacombs. I mean, there's a bunch of different reasons why the catacombs could have been filled the way they have. The French claimed that they, emptied out all of their cemeteries and they wanted to reclaim the land, and they just put all the bones in one place. And then, it could have a lot of them could have come from the Black Plague, but that darkness of 536 is also, that alone is an interesting topic. You could get lost in that forever. Scientists say it was from at least one volcano, but they now believe it could have been from a series of volcanoes.
I can't believe,
I was dark for 18 months.
As he brought it up, I was reading into some of it. I can't believe I had completely forgotten about it. But it was really interesting to see that for the first time, and yeah, things like that are would be very useful in seeing and trying to ascertain which calendars may have been altered or manipulated or had years added or taken away for one reason or another. Especially since there are some calendar systems that are so much more ancient than our own when you think of it, especially the Chinese. So there's that.
I think there's one good thing about this. I agree with him on the rapture. I don't think I would have wanted to be around when the rapture actually happens, but when Christ comes back after Satan's little season, this is when he comes back on the great white horse and comes upon a throne, and we're all judged. The wicked are cast into the lake of fire. That's going to be something to see, man. I think it's going to be the better. If he comes back during my lifetime, I sure hope it's this one on the great white horse.
Oh yes, I hope that we're live when it happens. I hope we're all on air. And
I hope I'm riding my white horse Pegasus, my Harley out somewhere.
There's just a flash.
Oh my God! You got your horse, I got mine.
Everybody, we're live. We're live on a Thursday night or something like that. All of a sudden, there's a big flash coming through the window. My luck, it'll be a flash of an atomic bomb. It won't be Christ on the white horse, but we'll see. I don't want to speak that either.
Fascinating show, dude. Loved it.
Well, thank you. Thank you, my friend. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon.
That is Oso Dude. Okay, now let me roll through the rest of these super chats because there's some good ones in here. Over on Rumble, Awakened Boomer says, I'm in for the dimes. Nat Wall says, happy Thursday. Grandma Grateful says, Frank, you were in the suggested main page tonight on Rumble. Well, you know what? Rumble, apparently, I was talking to my friend Nick at Rumble, the only friend over there I have, and I hope that they do a little bit better job trying to figure out a way to create diplomatic tools that allow really enthusiastic fan bases for smaller but high quality productions like this that can really help their favorite shows compete and make it up the rankings in a pretty visible way. I always talk about the years, those early years that we spent on YouTube, Ustream, when we were starting our show. Me, Anthony, and Mike, we had already been broadcasting for a year at that point. It was 2007. We found Ustream, and Ustream had this awesome feature called the shout button. It was right by the right side of the video embed. It looked like a bullhorn. And as you can click it, almost like you just click those little hearts at the bottom right-hand corner of the YouTube, the hearts, and you can make it all flutter up. Well, that actually had a bigger function on Ustream back in the day. If you click it, the more you click it and everybody else is clicking it, you can almost like raise the decibel levels. It looks like an analyzer, It looks like a spectrum analyzer, like I have behind me right here, that jumps up and down when my voice registers on the microphone. And every time you click it, it like raises the decibels. It takes a lot to keep those decibels up. You needed at least 100 people or so to really maintain it, and you get shot onto the front page. And of course, you don't stay there forever because everybody just can't keep clicking. But you know what? If you're enthusiastic enough, you can get there a couple of times. And that was awesome. That was awesome. These little diplomatic ways. Now, I'm not saying that would be feasible on Rumble, especially with how many people are watching streaming media these days. But maybe there are tools like that a platform like Rumble can create, that smaller, enthusiastic, high quality audiences like this can help out their favorite streamer get a little bit more recognition, on a front page that is otherwise log jammed by Dave Rubin and whoever else. Let's see here. Jay Semo says, cheers. Thank you, Jay Semo. It's good to have you out there. Over on our wonderful friends, Badlands Media, Nana Knows says, here, this is good for aged Wisconsin sharp cheddar. It's mullenscheese.com. Mullins Cheese. I'll keep that. Team Smooth that says, if I win, spin again for someone else. I put Team Smooth in there already. So if you win, spin again for someone else? Damn, okay. Team Smooth said, you can keep your Mercury Head dimes, yo. I don't need that shit. Now, over on Pilled, I already put you guys in as well. Swickly says, go to a symphony and then listen to some heavy metal. Feel the difference. You want me to go through some heavy metal with you right now? You know what? On the flip side, we're doing music tonight. I'm not going to go live on the drums tonight, even though that would really make me fly high. I don't know. That would be... I'm getting excited. I don't feel demonically excited to think about sitting down and like putting Orion on by Metallica and just leading into that. Or maybe we'll do Shortest Straw. How about we play Shortest Straw after the I don't know. We can talk about that if you like. I don't feel like demonic. Okay, well, there are some songs that are no doubt satanic. Like Slayer, even if it was just done to be provocative, it is, they go all in. And I gotta say, I don't let the words, I can't, I don't let it like penetrate me, but there's something about the dark. You listen to the dark, you know the light, just to know what's out there. I don't know. You have faith. What does it mean? You're never going to watch a horror film again? You're never going to watch something that's disturbing again, something that goes to dark places that you can, it's still human. It's a human, it's a side of humanity that obviously you don't want to wallow in it. You don't want to marinate in it. But there are some songs on that God Hates Us All album by Slayer. They never not hit. It's startling how heavy it is. But it's not like it's a mantra. And that definitely changes. The way that you see things changes a lot over the years. And you have a different kind of guard that is up. Different kind of guard. Swickly, thank you. Revolution says, I put that teaser comment into Discord the other day about birds not being real, and as I hoped, it triggered you to wear the shirt I sent last summer. Not for just a second time, but it makes the third appearance. I couldn't be more pleased. It's become a regular on-air wardrobe. Rev, you sent this to me? I didn't even know. Well, thank you for reminding me. I didn't know it was the third time. I thought it was the second. For the record, I did not see anything about the birds not being real in Discord. But now I want to go watch the kid. Hold on. Okay, hold on. Now I want to watch this
real
again.
Movement. He joins us now.
The kid that represented the birds not real, going on television. We have to watch this together. I'm gonna go past 9:00. I know it.
Birds Aren't Real Movement. He joins us now. Good morning. Thanks for being with us.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
So are there people that find your account and think that it's real?
You know, I think there's a lot of people that find our social media accounts and see a different side of Gen Z in America. Gen Z is full of some amazing men, women, and children that are aiming for change. And I think that is, just what our movement's all about.
But it's more than just Gen Z's falling for conspiracy theories. Why?
Oh, my God. I'm so nervous. I'm so sorry.
Well, we hope you're okay. Why don't we give you some time to collect yourself? If you need help, let us know in the control room there. And we'll...
Thank you, Serious Voice McGee. Well, we hope you're okay, and skingly-doo. All right, let's see here. Corey J says, bro, guest had a lot of stories. Great show. I know. We've only begun to tap into them. Rook Castle says, Frank, you should have asked him what church he attends. The Catholic Church, I don't take him as a Catholic, is the universal church that is directly connected to Peter, the first bishop. On this rock you should build your church. Well, I don't take him as a Catholic. NX17 says, Frank, you're a pro. Sometimes you just have to sit there and let it happen. Stove, and that's one of the hardest lessons to learn. Stove, just hungry for some cookies. Now I put a sleeve of cookies in there, and then he put some shades. I don't know if I got all of them, but that would just be nuts. Amethyst Cat says, tossing my cookies in the ring. Wait, you know what I mean. I got you in there too. I got everybody. And then Rosie says, boop. Hello, Rosie. JSem, thank you. Stove says, just taking another flight on by, quite frankly, dropping some pills may or may not be gold. Challenge complete. Once again, why the heck not? Just saying, loving the quite frankly, and much love sent out there. The pilled people are built different, man, I tell you. Big Chief Patriot says, I'm just in it for them dimes. Don't worry, you're in it several times, Big Chief. And let's just get to it, shall we? Because I'm going to bring you guys over to the flip side with me. Let's do it. All right. Oh, wait, hold on. Hand Candy Mittens just became a Nugget member, so I have to put them in there as well. Hand Candy Mittens. Oh, you guys are going to love being a sponsor. Keep your eyes on all the members-only section wherever you sponsor. I upload a lot. I update a lot. That's where we do a lot of bonus content together. You're going to love it. Watch Hand Candy be the one that wins. Are you ready? 118 names in here. Who is winning the Shark Kit and the 5 Mercury Head Dimes? The winner is Jorica, the one who just gifted everybody those memberships tonight. Wow. That's well, look at that. Jorica, you get in touch with me, Frank at quitefrankly.tv. Get in touch with me right away. And I'd like to get this out to you as soon as. Congratulations to you, and thank you everybody else. And I'll, you know what? I've got some more dimes over here. I think we're going to start sending. I think I'm going to put together another cluster for tomorrow. Who knows? We're going to talk to Tony Arterburn tomorrow morning on the B-sides. So you will see us there. In the meantime, thank you for hanging out. We're not done yet. Please join us on the flip side. I'm going to be dropping the link into the chat room during the end credits, so please come on over. All right? And that's that. That's that for this week. I'm going to try to premiere something that you haven't seen in a while tomorrow night at 7 o'clock on Rumble and YouTube. And we'll be live on Saturday night around, I don't know what time it's going to be. I'll put that out there. Akira the Don is going to be with me. We'll take some calls with music. We'll have a little bit of fun. And then that's it. Next week is going to be a great one. We got great guests, great topics already lined up. Go to quitefrankly.tv and get nice and acquainted with everything. And thank you again to Brian, Demon Erasers, for being on with us tonight. You guys are fantastic. See you tomorrow. Did I do it? I did it right? I did. Okay. See ya.
I'll catch you on the flip side.
Quite Frankly is filmed before a live studio audience, and I once again want to thank all of our wonderful friends who have joined us on Badlands tonight. It is always an honor to have you guys with us on Badlands. Yes, it is, as it is. Come to the flip side and have a smoke. Have a demonic smoke on the flip side. I'll see you there.
Gun. You thought I was going to say son of a bitch, didn't you?